So here's an update or a continuation of the story I covered earlier, all about the wife who discovered that her child isn't actually her child, as crazy as that sounds, which was titled, "Am I the a-hole to divorce my husband and leave him with the kid after finding out I'm not biologically the mom?" And a shout out to Dustin for sending me that story. And guys, as a recap, as a reminder, that's about the woman who she had to have I can't remember the term, but basically the surrogate mother type of thing. She couldn't have kids. They tried for years, a big, terrible situation. So her so-called friend said she would do it, did the whole IVF things, and turns out that actually they never went to the official process. Her husband was banging her friend. And she noticed this because the kid's eyes didn't match up and other things like that. And anyhow, now she wants to divorce the husband and doesn't want to have anything to do with the kid anymore because she's just so destroyed. And of course, her husband and it's like, "You're the worst person in the world," blah, 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 and the people in her family. And I was interested to go over here because usually it's the guy in the situation who finds out that his kid isn't his, and everybody gives him a hard time about it. But the entertaining thing is, and the crazy part is, when a guy has this situation, the comment section on Reddit is always full of people telling how awful he is. But when it's a woman, everybody in the comment section is telling her, "No, girl, you go, it's okay," and it's crazy. So I'm going to go through a bunch of things she wrote in the comment section, responses, shedding more light in the situation. And by the way, guys, you can hear the dinging on the car here. We just had an incredibly crazy rainstorm. I mean, it was torrential downpours. It's finally ending, and I got to get this thing filmed, so bear with me. So, in regards to the situation, to the arrangement they had, she says here, the only paperwork that was legally drafted was for her transferring over the parental rights to us, much like an adoption in the event that there is already a mutual off-the-books agreement to adopt from someone already personally known. We were trying to do it as cheap as possible because we don't make much money, and the costs that couldn't be avoided were sky high, even to the point I took out loans from the bank and then picked up 2 part-time jobs on the side to pay towards those loans. So yeah, she really wanted this child and didn't make a lot of money, took on part-time jobs, racked up credit cards and all that, and this is how she's repaid. Well, she should be suing, absolutely, to get any money back she paid to the so-called friend, amongst other things. With regards to the subject of her husband and so-called friend, she says, no, she's not married. He actually had the audacity to claim that my depression and obsession with pregnancy and having a kid pushed him away. He also said he felt deprived of affection because I was working so much, even though I was the primary breadwinner and the only responsible spouse keeping up with the bills. This is a total role reversal here. If I hadn't taken on the extra work, he would never have stepped up, and the loan I took out to pay for the uncovered medical expenses, especially IVF, would have gone unpaid. I don't know for sure if I was unprotected or not. I'm assuming it was, but he did make a ridiculous statement that he didn't think anything like this would happen because he thought maybe he was part of the problem with our lack of conception. Oh, for goodness sake. She says it's absolutely ridiculous to say this because if he was the problem causing the infidelity, then they would have never been able to form viable embryos from him and I. I think he said this as a lame excuse. Anyone with half a brain would know not to have relations as a surrogate during the IVF waiting period. And more importantly, why would any respectful husband want to anyway? If this husband wasn't happy with her, then he should have ended it with her, not cheat on her, let alone with her friend. And notice she said her friend isn't married. And her friend has kids, which you're going to find out more. Single MOM. So her friend's not happy. She's going to screw it up for her other so-called friend here. The situation with the husband and the boy. She says he feels like biological maternity shouldn't matter that much, which means I'm finally fulfilling my dream of becoming a mother. He says that if I adopt somebody, I'm still going to have to raise a child that's not biologically mine. He's reminded me about what a depressive wreck I was during the infidelity, the aftermath of my partial hysterectomy, and how I put him through the ringer because I was obsessed with wanting to have a kid. Dude, you knew what you were getting into. I have no problem with her divorcing this guy. This guy's a total a-hole. As regards to the kids, she's suffering because of her husband and her so-called friend. She's the victim, because of that. And I feel bad for the kid because it's not the little boy's fault here. He claims I pushed him away with my baby obsession and he couldn't deal with it anymore. And that's why he started spraying the way he did. He also says that I just can't turn my back on a child when I legally sign up all the paperwork, which is similar to adoption paperwork since the state doesn't readily recognize a child born to a surrogate to be the couple's child since they base it on the person who gave birth to the child as being the legal mother until paperwork is signed that transfers the rights over. Well, since she gave birth to the child and it's not her child, and of course sirens, then maybe she can make her have to pay for child support. Who knows? He also claimed that I'm going to have a difficult battle ahead of me trying to reverse that. Well, I'm sure it's not going to be easy, but at the end of the day, another one. This is regards to her friend. She says, the funny thing is that she didn't even know she was a baby mama until very recently when I told her. I guess she thought there was no possible consequence to having sex. Yeah, anyway. Also, that's the thing. She agreed to be our surrogate because we couldn't afford the cost a center wanted us to find a surrogate. She didn't get any monetary benefit except us paying her out-of-pocket costs for medical and transportation expenses. Now, this is why you don't have a friend do this type of thing. Also, she says she doesn't have a husband. She has 2 kids with a long-term boyfriend, but they split 5 years ago. There you go. I'm guaranteeing she's probably jealous of hell. This so-called friend was alone, and it's like the Al Bundy, don't try to understand women. Women understand women. They hate each other. There's a real chance that my husband might actually end up becoming a single dad. I don't know how or the supposed friend who was supposed to be the surrogate would have. She already has 2 kids from a previous relationship who are older. She said before that she was done having kids on her own, which is why she was okay with serving as a surrogate, since it would mean helping us out but not having to take the responsibility of raising a child. I don't know how she feels really because I haven't talked to her, and I do not want to talk to her. The one time I contacted her after my husband confessed, I admit I exploded on her, and she hung up with me a few minutes later. Well, this woman has every right to explode on her so-called friend, but that's real nice. Click. And last bit of information here, the fertility clinic. She says the fertility clinic was just involved in the egg extraction, embryo formation, and storage of eggs and embryos. Another medical practice utilized in the vitro fertilization methods with the person I thought would be our surrogate. He did not pick the surrogate for us. It was a personal friend who agreed to do this out of the supposedly kindness of her heart, since she already had 2 prior children and knew that she could carry to term easily and didn't mind being pregnant. Didn't mind being pregnant? I mean, there's something off with those that don't mind being pregnant. Had we gone through a professional surrogacy practice, there would have been other steps involved, and there would have found a few options for surrogates for us, but the costs were way too high, which is why we skipped some steps and a lot of money by going through a friend that we thought we could trust. Well, your husband really tried to trust her with his you-know-what. Now I feel like I can trust no one. I don't even feel like I could try surrogacy again far in the future because my trust in that is broken. Well, I don't blame her. This goes to show you guys, there's plenty of scumbag guys out there. You're not happy with your wife? Fine. End it with her. Move on. Don't pull this shit, And I mean, the husband is rotten. Her so-called friend is rotten. So she's got a choice to make. And I mean, obviously she's going to divorce this guy, which she certainly should do. But with regards to the kid, I feel bad for the little kid. But just like if a guy finds out that the child isn't his, he's allowed to make a choice. So we shall see here what happens. I guarantee there'll be updates. And if I don't find the update if there's an update and I don't find it, let me know, guys. But anyhow, there's more details on the situation. I did this one specifically because this is such a rare and unusual story. So again, you see updates, let me know, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be.